Awesome, Matt and Googs. Great to be down in Durban as always. Welcome to the live streaming audience right around the world. Welcome to the city of Durban. Probably one of the most friendly cities in the world, and a great effort being put in by the city of Durban. KDG Logistics, KwaZulu-Natal Tourism, Transnet, Russell Wood, a 14-time South African champions, being instrumental in getting the gas team, all the association, and of course all the contacts that are required to ensure that we get this event up and running. And we're about to kick it off now officially. Yesterday we had some Porsches having some fun and games with us, putting a bit of rubber down and ensuring that our riders have got a clean circuit. A big thanks to the Porsche Club guys for coming out and helping us out with that exact maneuver. But of course it's now time to go racing. And the Super 600s are our first race officially of this weekend's round 5 of the Monster Energy SuperGP Champions Trophy. In association with Pirelli Tires, of course, all these riders run on Pirelli rubber. We've got Vox Telecom as our associated sponsor. Discover Digital helps us out as well. And a welcome on from NGL Logistics and some scooters who have been helping us transport all of the facilities that are required to put something like this together right around the country. And of course supporting our crew here to give them transport back and forth from the one side of the circuit to the other side of the circuit on the Sim scooters. It's great to see such a nice field of riders coming down here to Durban, and we've got 4 of Natal's own boys out there having fun and games. 2 of them are on the front row. That is Matthew Skoltz on the number 120 bike as he heads down into Monster Energy. Oh, and slides it in nicely on some cold tires into the Monster Hairpin. Out of Monster Hairpin, they head up a big back straightaway. And that back straightaway into the front of the right-handers. The right-hand turn, of course, will be known as Discover Digital. And as they come into that, it actually comes back at them and makes a slight left-hand kink on the exit too. So looking forward to seeing some action down there. There'll be hard braking into this corner and potential overtaking maneuvers happening. And there's a little short straightaway that heads them towards Hangar. Yes, it's not Hangar at Silverstone. It, of course, is Hangar at the Super GP Champions Trophy circuit in KwaZulu-Natal. And of course, then they go onto the Hangar straight that takes them back down past the old airport, past the fuel depot, and heading down into what we're now going to call the Durban Double. Durban City are one of our big supporters on this event, and the Durban Double is a big double left-hand corner. It's actually a triple apex if you take it as a motorcycle rider, and coming out of that, it heads them into the first of the return route to the pit lane. First of that, of course, is the Pirelli bus stop. They're heading into that right now, and into Pirelli bus stop. It's a left-hander, then a short little straight, and into the right-hander that heads them to probably going to be the most famous corner on this circuit by the end of the day. It's going to be known as Woods Wiggle. NGL Logistics Solutions, you can see the branding on there, but Woods Wiggle is a first gear chicane onto the straight that brings them up to take their positions on the grid. And of course, running through the grid, first row of the grid there, Matthew Skoltz from Natal. He's from just down the road in Umhlanga Rocks. He is the man to beat you this weekend. Has not been better by anybody, even the current champion, Cam Peters alongside him, and of course another Natal boy on the front row, Blaze Baker.
Yeah, it's going to be something to watch out for. Great vibe out there, Greg, but I can tell you right now from going and doing the intro out on the line with Googs, the wind is absolutely pumping from right behind us. So watch out, there's going to be all kinds of chaos going into turn number 1, because even though the guys have been out there in morning warm-up, coping with the situations, it pumped up by about a K while I was out there. It's super strong, tailwind into turn 1.
So we're good to go here for the start. Second row is Stephen Udendahl. Look out for Nicholas Kershaw and Michael White. Behind them, Anthony Shelley, Malcolm Rudman, another Natal boy, Dean Foss, Alan John Fenton, Nicole Van Oswegen, and Corbin McCullum as they head down towards turn 1. It's a good start there from Cam Peterson. He looks like he's got the drop on the Kawasaki's, and the Yamaha looks like he might be able to sneak through. No, it's Udendahl.
Udendahl takes the whole shot. What a good pull off the line, and he goes wide as well. So it's Cameroon Peterson, the number 1 plated rider, the reigning champion, that gets the legs, gets the drive, and that's what we're talking about. It's going to be super dangerous going into turn number 1 and 2. Blaze Baker, all kinds of loose, and he gets the line done, gets up the inside of Skolty.
Oh.
How wild was that?
He puts his knee down on the tires as well, so it's getting completely out of hand. Just as what we expected heading to Discover Digital. But into Hangar sweep now. There's Alan John Fenter on the Wiesenhoff Coffee's Triumph sneaking through. In the back end of the field, it looks like it's all about Temba Kamala fighting with Ricky Weir and Dylan Barnard. But at the front end, it's Cam Peterson. The brother M-Tech Racing Yamaha has got a little bit of an edge over everybody else, and using kind of motocross skills in the whole shot ability, and got through on the cowards.
And motocross skills the whole way through Durban Double as well, because he actually was hovering above the seat there and riding the wave. That's what we're going to be talking about. Oh man, big gas coming out of the R6, coming down the straight. first lap in anger. And Cameron Peterson, even though he was second fast qualifier, is 2 positions ahead of Scalzi.
Quite difficult to try and pick up on Scholz and Udall now that
Saw
Udall's
that.
taken his second helmet out. He's got the very similar aero helmet to what Matthew Scholz has got. So 120 and 44, both out of the same team, now both with exactly the same helmets. I think we need to try and get some kind of differentiating factor on those helmets of a sticker of some nature. But it's Blaze Baker and the Umschlager boy, Matthew Scholz, 2 Natal boys, tucked in behind Udall and of course Cam Peterson.
Kershaw is doing well. He's on the blue 55. Big wiggle as they go into hangar. Magic Mike's doing good as well. Magic Mike got a good pull off the line. He is a very clever rider. We've been watching him the whole way through the season. He tags onto the back of riders and he allows himself to be pulled forwards to the front. Right now, you can see a little bit of frustration here because Scalzi wants to get through. This is one of the sectors where he's much faster than the rest. A good mid-corner there for Blaze Baker.
Yeah, good corner speed from Matthew Scholz as well. He's closed on Baker as they come out of Pirelli bus stop now, heading into Woods Wiggle. Hard on the brakes. Blaze Baker hanging onto that inside line. He's not going to let Scalzi through. These Kawasaki's are very evenly matched, and as they come across the stripe now to complete another lap, absolutely amazing stuff.
Watch the move here. We saw a good drive coming out of the 120. He looked like he was going to get himself into that position, but just not in time. All this is just helping Cameron Peterson. He is extending this lead. That is almost a clear half second as Odendaal starts going and chasing.
Odendaal decided to turn the wick up and get away from Blaze Baker. The 2 Natal boys are fighting for 3rd position on the track. It's Baker and Scholz, but they close in under braking into Discover Digital, and as they come out of Discover Digital now heading towards hangar, it is Blaze Baker who has made up massive amounts of ground, looks up the inside of hangar.
He wants to get through, and did you see how hard Odendaal was braking as they went into Discover Digital? He had that thing up onto the front wheel, and that is where he is actually losing out. He's braking too hard into the corners, and Blaze Baker is actually great. You can see the second rider in shot there, Blaze Baker, is carrying a ton more entry speed.
He's able to carry that corner speed as well. So whatever they've done in terms of getting the rubber right and making sure that they've got the tyre pressures right, it seems to be working right now. Runs a little bit wide there. That opens up an opportunity. Scalzi comes alongside, side by side. Oh, this could be a cutback here. Watch for the drive.
Again,
2
here we go.
riders going to be side by side across the line. Matthew Scholz is on the wrong side though. Blaze Baker keeps him onto the right-hand side. Wow, that is some super riding there from Blaze Baker to keep out a very talented Matthew Scholz. And Scholz has run wide all on his own, as has Baker. Into Monster Energy, and Kershaw sneaks through.
Kershaw into the mix now, so Kershaw slides through to 4th place, but it's short-lived. But that was all set up because Blaze Baker was wild and ragged going into the Monster Hairpin, got the thing loose, and Matthew Scholz had to pull out of that one because he thought he was going to get collected.
Well, the Tsunami Beach Bar man sneaks up onto the back end. There are 4 Kawasaki's, 3 of them are green, 1 is blue and white as he heads into hangar, and it's Nicholas Kershaw who looks the most dangerous. If anything goes wrong with any of those first 3 riders, Kershaw is waiting to pounce. And as you said, Matt, just behind Kershaw, it looks like it's a super effort there being put in as they start to come through. And on the brake, Scholz into Durban double. Matthew Scholz moves up the inside into Durban double. That's the first time we've seen an overtaking maneuver through there.
And I think that
he makes it stick.
That was born of pure frustration. He was absolutely sick of being blocked the whole time, and now he is going to get angry. We're seeing a lot of mistakes coming out of Blaze Baker now. He's running wild, ragged lines, and Matthew Scholz has got the big hurry up. Remember, he is fastest out there coming into this race, but he is not going to be able to make up this deficit at the moment. He has to get through on Odendaal. He has been almost 2 seconds a lap faster than Odendaal.
Odendaal runs wide all on his own. A
massive mistake
for Matthew Scholz.
Yeah, that was way too easy. I don't know if that was actually set up or what, but it didn't look like a mistake. It just looked like a run wide, and there you go. So it's going to be tail gunner for the weekend for our championship points leader.
And already coming up on some back markers by the looks of things. Timber Kamalo is in trouble. The Munro Honda, unfortunately, looks like it could be eaten up. It's already being eaten by the
he's got a problem. He's out.
He's pulled onto the right-hand side of the circuit, and also Timber Kamalo is out. Look at Kershaw, though. Kershaw realizes it's time to go. He can see that Matthew Scholz is certainly putting the pressure on. And Stephen Odendaal is hanging on for dear life. And as they come down onto the braking markers now, into Durban double, it is Kershaw who seems to be the man on the move.
Watch out here. This is where Blaze Baker is starting to make a few mistakes. He runs super wide towards the end of this. This is where he goes in for the cutback and just cannot get it leaned over to the right-hand side. A little bit tighter this time around. So he has reined it in a little bit, has the number 51 of Blaze Baker, and he's trying to get that 3rd position back. He wants podium.
Scholz has gone hunting for Cam Peterson. In the background, Michael White, Dean Foss, and Anthony Shelley. Now onto the braking markers, down into Monster Energy Hairpin. Hard on the brakes is Blaze Baker, but he cannot sneak up the inside and get through. Absolutely amazing stuff here as they come flying through. And onto the back straight now, it is side-by-side action. That is some Wow, look at that. Now, onto the back end. Here comes Dean Foss. Dean Foss just on the background now, looking for an opportunity to stay ahead of Anthony Shelley. So the Yamaha boys are right within the grasp of the Kawasaki's. And at the moment, it's a Yamaha that leads things out right from the word go. He has not been bettered since he got the whole shot through turn 1. That's the Monster Energy hairpin. And 3, 4, and 5 heading up towards the back and into Durban double. Could be an opportunity for an overtaking maneuver there. I did see a maneuver up the inside, but unfortunately didn't quite make it stick. They went into Durban double. Dean Foss, slowly but surely, closing in on this. That is second place. There comes the third place battle. Look at that. Odendaal is in trouble.
Yeah, he is. He's been in trouble the whole weekend, to be honest. At the end of the first day, he said to us that he had a problem on his bike. They did a rebuild, they figured it out, but he has not been able to trouble the top steps. It's been Blaze Baker and the rest of the crew that have been coming on strong. Mikey White, 58, watch out. He's starting to bridge the gap. He's found his own groove, and he's closing up onto the back wheel of Kershaw. And the reason that's happening is because Odendaal cannot get that thing going. And
Matt, did you see that?
Yeah, that was Kershaw running wide, and Magic Mike
nearly
nearly tagged him. And a huge wheelie coming back up the straight for Blaze Baker. Gotta love this kid's style.
Blaze Baker, very Valentino Rossi going into Discover Digital there. Big foot out and manages to get that bike slowed down. Now remember, going back up the straight from Monster towards Discover Digital, they're going to have a headwind. So it's easier to break into the headwind. What's happening down at Monster Hairpin at the moment, Matt, is due to that massive wind you were talking about at the start of the race. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys are getting caught out on the brakes. And they're going for the late braking, but not realizing that there is probably a 30, 40k an hour wind behind them, pushing them through.
That's the thing, they're just getting pushed on. That's the whole way through it. And this is second place. We are starting to see the gap come down. Stoltz is back into his qualifying zone, and he's going to be closing that gap. We have got a long race at the end of this.
I certainly have, man. I can tell you something. It's Cam Peterson that is dominating at the front end and showing all the Kawasaki boys that thought they had it in the bag that you've actually got to get to the front to win a race, and you've got to maintain that lead. This is a nice little dice into the Monster.
Third place is what we're going to be watching for the rest of this race. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Mikey White is about to join this party because it's going to be a four-way split. So Stephen Odendaal, the man who has really battled the whole way through practice and in qualifying, once again puts the thing up on the nose. There's a change-up. Blaze Baker just bangs one up the inside into Discover Digital, and that is the change-up. Blaze Baker, he now has to break away. It's been clear the whole way through practice and qualifying that the local kid has got a better pace around this. Oh, he sits up. A little bit of a spat up there, and everyone had to roll out of that one. It's actually giving him the drive advantage. And watch out for the move, because Kershaw's got the drive. Kershaw's on the fly. No, he backs out of that one.
I don't think he was close enough to see when Matthew Stoltz went through that you can actually make that stick. Maybe he'll have another look again. Oh, but look who's coming. Like a rocket ship in the background, Magic Mike has turned up the wick and is certainly closing in onto these Kawasaki's.
He's flying, and Dean Foss ain't far off closing that gap. We're getting our timekeepers on the crew so we can see what's going on, but I know we're only in the first quarter of this race, and already, exactly what we said, the script is being read out by Steven Spielberg. At the moment, we have got tight racing.
Oh, it's amazing racing down into the Monster Energy hairpin. Oh, and Blaze Baker once again running wide, opens up the door. Odendahl's going to try and square him off. Oh, he had a big look there, but fortunately Baker was able to turn that bike. How he turned it on that time, I have no idea, but he manages just to keep that 44 bike out.
Magic Mikey White is now joining the party, but it's going to get extremely busy. We're going to need bouncers to separate these guys at the end of this one, because look how close. And all the... Oh, big moment in the background for Shelley. Woo!
Shelley came out the saddle properly there. Change of shorts, number 74, please. That is certainly a massive moment. But look at this little in-house battle. Baker, Odendaal fighting with Kershaw, fighting with Magic Mike, and all of a sudden, the second Yamaha is there as well. We've got Foss in the pack, and the hunt for third place.
This is the hunt for Red October. Man, oh man, it is super strong, incredible riding, and it didn't look like it was actually going to play out like this on paper, but a huge charge here, and the mistakes are coming from the guys at the front here. Blaze Baker and Odendaal are the guys making the mistakes right now. We're heading into Monster Hairpin, and this is where Blaze Baker and Odendaal have both thrown it badly because they're just breaking. Wait, look at that. Up on the nose once again. The 51 does get it stopped, does get it turned, but look at everyone close up.
Much better this time. Much better from Blaze Baker. Much better from Odendaal. But all of a sudden, Michael White has seen a chance of getting onto the podium, and he's now hassling the back end of Kershaw. Kershaw onto the braking markers very late. He also puts a knee out in the very last minute. Here comes Mike, though. Magic Mike is on a flyer, and he's bringing Dean Foss along for the ride.
Kershaw was wide there. Kershaw was wide, and he's recovering. But Mikey White, watch this. He gets the drive, and Mikey White hasn't been told that he can't pass going up into the first of the Durban doubles, and he's going to try and make it count. Just didn't get a good drive out of Hanger, though.
an even match there in terms of the power ability of those motorcycles, but under braking, and as they roll off for the Durban double, look at how Michael White closes.
Yep.
White is just able to carry that corner speed. He's closing right onto the back end of Kershaw, and with that, Dean Foss is saying, come on, Mike, put a wheel up there. We know we can get through. Yellow flags coming into the Woods Wiggle, which means we've got an incident probably down at the hairpin. As they come down to the hairpin, keep an eye out for a bike that could possibly be spoiling the day here. There's yellow flags into Woods Wiggle. What's happening down here at Monster Hairpin? As they get down there, you can see no overtake. Oh, but Mike White goes up the inside. That might be under yellow. Michael White's gone up and he's got through.
Yeah, we're trying to look around the track to see if the yellows have been pulled in. Cannot see any other yellows, so we hold our breath and we hope that he made that count, because that was a super strong move. Nice little rider down here. Is that Peterson?
That looks like it might be Cam. It is! It's Cam Peterson! Can you believe that? Cam Peterson is down. He's made a mistake.
Race leader who was pushing on. Yeah, confirmation RST letters. Cameron Peterson pushing on there, and that was coming out of Woods Wiggle. He was off to the side.
Through Woods Wiggle, just putting on the pressure, probably the pressure being put on by Matthew Scholz, and you could see he was closing, but it was literally about a 4 or 5 second. You can see Cam is in pain. If he's not getting up, you know that he's sore.
That was a high side coming out of Woods Wiggle. We knew a couple of the guys were going to be able to do it, because the way you've got to gear it down there and get back onto the gas super hard means the front end's going to come up. Yeah, Cam is just having a lie down, trying to check out his own body. Remember, he's done a lot of motocross racing, a lot of supermoto. Oh, we've got another rider going off as well.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, looks like another rider going down there. That's number 64.
Outside of Discover Digital.
Dylan Barnard also having some issues of his own.
So Discover Digital there causing some problems, but the big change up is now on the paper. Matty Scholz leads. Blaze Baker, this huge battle that we've been watching out for, the 51, is now in second place, as Cameron Peterson is still on the sideline there. So Blaze Baker in second, Odendahl third, Mikey White is fourth. Mikey White has got a chance for a podium here.
Yes, he certainly has. Mike White's got a chance of a podium, and if he smells it, let me tell you something. Odendahl, you can kiss that podium goodbye. Mike White will throw caution to the wind, but to get this podium. They head down onto the back straight now. That's the hanger straight, heading towards Durban double.
Kershaw getting left behind here.
Kershaw's lost a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And what happened there was, due to the fact that they came down, they saw a couple of yellow flags. He might have rolled out a little bit too much, and now just has lost that toe. Now they come out of the big left-hand sweepers.
I mean, I know they're told they're allowed to go wide there, but Mikey White is taking it, and then some. Here we go, 58.
And Blaze Baker too.
Yeah, now this is a section of the track actually where Mikey White is a little bit weak. Going into Woods Wiggle, he cannot get it done. But he's got a good gearing setup, and he is a madman. It's Mad Magic Mike on the brakes.
Yes, indeed. Blaze Baker, though, is certainly looking to make it 2 Natal boys on the podium. He is keeping everybody else out there. And Stephen Odendahl, with his talent, with the amount of skill and the amount of experience he's had internationally as well as locally, he just cannot find a way past.
Yeah, we've seen that. Oh, Cameron Peterson is sore, but seriously sore at the moment. He is off the racing line, and that's why we're not seeing a red flag coming out. I don't know if that's pain or whether that's just frustration, but something ain't super happy. Yeah, that's coming out of Woods Wiggle on the right-hand side of our shot. He's got flicked coming out there, which means his bike and the rider are way off. They're in a safe zone, but he is super sore. He was leading at the time. Red flag is out.
I thought that might be
Red flag coming out, unfortunately, and that is because we have to go and find the rider, get the rider up, and get the ambulance out. So red flag, unfortunately, bringing the race, and it looks like we might have to run a short sprinter for this one.
Well, it's ER24 that'll be brought into, unfortunately, the first bit of action for the day there, and it affected the man who was leading the race. Dude, by a country mile by the looks of things. You can see Cam Peterson is in a little bit of pain. So fortunately, he's going to be okay, and let's see if he gets all sorted out. Maybe get him back. Maybe get him back again for race number 2. So Matthew Scholz comes to take up. Okay, it wasn't into Woods Wiggle. It was coming out of the bus stop.
That's a high side.
It was a high side out of the Pirelli bus stop.
So he was trying to carry.
See Jacques and the Kyle Army Marshals, first man on the scene. I've got to say, well done there, Jacques. Great effort, buddy, to get Cam here. And of course, the medical car will be there very shortly.
And the first mistake and real incident we've seen coming out of that area. So obviously he was on the cable. We knew that in the early stages.
Yeah, trying to put a bit of a gap, pull a bit of a gap, eh?
His board would have told him that he had around about a half-second lead. So you've got to try and push that out, because he knew on paper that he would eventually get closed down by Scholz, and that actually was happening.
What I can tell you is probably one of the best guys to get to Cameron Peterson and in the first place is that man in the jeans and the black shirt there. Part of the Kyle Army Marshals, and of course helping us out here with the Mnanzi Marshals as part of Durban GP. So super effort there from them to get to him as quickly as possible. ER24 are on site, and now of course we get all the guys back onto the grid to get some tire warmers on the bikes. What a way to start things off here, dude.
Absolutely wild. So the big story was poleman, the man out of Umhlanga, the local kid, the local hero, Matthew Scott's not getting off the line right and getting left behind. He was down in 4th place at one point. Cameron Peterson didn't have to be asked twice. He just got launched off, and he started running and hiding.
Oh, we're going to look at the replay. Yeah, we managed to pick it up on our television coverage. So the live streaming, here's the replay. He is under pressure from Matthew Scott. You can see Matthew Scott's closing in on him as he goes up onto the right.
Oh,
that's going to hurt.
He clipped his foot on the tire, his knee and foot, and he was actually dragged off the bike, and the bike goes into the pits.
Well, the bike goes into the pits and goes past and heads towards the bluff, dude.
Oh, man.
That bike is out of here. Hopefully no cars in the way down that section.
So not a high side, not a low side.
One of the concerns a lot of the riders have put in about this circuit is the fact that there are tires. They're there for safety reason, first of all, and they're also there to stop the guys from clipping the corners.
In the background there, you can actually see the marshals getting putting the tire back. So a huge situation there. You could see how he was getting closed down as well. He was getting closed down to the tune of about half a second a lap for Matty Scotts.
So on the grid here, you can see them all getting their tyre warmers and track stands back on. But here, once again, is that incident. Here comes Cam Peterson under pressure from Scholz. He pitches it over into the Pirelli bus stop. Just his knee. The knee slider actually catching it, and it just high-sides him straight off the bike.
The kind of injury you're talking about there is huge muscle, tendon, ligament damage. That I know it sounds bad, but
groin there
a groin strain, a groin tear possibly.
Exactly.
That's real bad news.
And the way he landed as well, man, I'm also going to be concerned because he was holding the hip, so hopefully all okay. But we've got ER24 on site, probably the best recoveries in the country right now. And Dr. Alan Winstanley and his entire team will make a plan and make a call in terms of whether Cam can get out again or not.
You know what? This championship, this series, the whole way through 2014, we've always seen one of the key players go down in at least one of the races. And a lot of the time it has been Cam.
Yeah, 100%. But unfortunately, it's just one of those things that happens with motorcycle racing. We do have to take the good with the bad. And yes, indeed, it is unfortunately there for Cam Peterson that he's gone down. He was leading by a good margin, but it was closed down dramatically and rapidly there by Matthew Scott.
Well, let me tell you something. Matthew Scott was closing him down and was able to run a full second faster than Cameron Peterson at the time. Matthew Scott was dropping below his qualifying time. So he was getting close to a 104. He was actually lapping in the 105-1 bracket, which meant it was going to take maybe a lap and a half to get himself going.
Oh, as you can see, Cam Peterson just being sorted out there. Yeah, so confirmation there on the screen. You actually see the fastest lap coming through there from Matthew Scott. So that's how rapid he was closing in on Cameron Peterson. So Cam was literally under pressure. The pressure eventually being felt, and unfortunately, he put his knee down, buckled, and got high-sided.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's something that we would have done any differently any other lap. So maybe another rider had clipped the tire and pulled it a little bit further out, but it's very rare that these riders change up their lines going in there.
Yeah, and you've seen on all the photographs and all the photography that's happened over the weekend how close these guys are pushing the envelope. I mean, they really are literally millimeters away with those knee sliders. And look at yesterday. How many times did the COC come and call us and say, listen, if anybody's lost a knee slider, we've got 10, 12 of them lying on the sideline. Yeah. Please come and collect them.
Yeah, I haven't seen this many knee sliders go missing since we put down our Supermoto sliders. I mean, that's the story. We used to clip on tires the whole time, and Cam knows that.
So, well, as you can see, just that's all precautionary stuff. We did see Cam already up. He looked like he was in a lot of pain. I saw Jacques from Kyle Army Marshall saying there he is feeling very, very sore. But fortunately, as I said, we've got ER24. The medical team are there. The doctors are on site. And we're now getting an awesome shot of how well these doctors and our Kyle Army Marshals and Mnanzi Marshals work together to ensure that our basically riders are looked after.
So the riders lining themselves up there, getting themselves ready, waiting for the call of how many laps will actually be called out, because we will have to do a rerunning of this race. Will no doubt be a shortened version of it, though. But let's talk about some of the stories that were happening there. Matty Scott's not getting fired off the line. Cameron Peterson absolutely launching off the line like a rocket ship. Some problems coming out of the number 44 of Odendaal. The big story was the 58 of Mikey White climbing the ladder and closing things down quite nicely. And Cameron Peterson grimacing on his face, but is being held. And we are going to get him loaded up and off the race once again. Greg, you got some numbers for us there?
Yeah, just getting confirmation from the timekeepers, Matt, as they came in here, protiming.co.za. They're doing our official timekeeping, and yes, we're going to go 1 lap back, which means we're going to start with a 9-lap sprint race.
Okay, so Cameron Peterson getting loaded into the ambulance. As soon as the ambulance is clear, then we will get a course clear, and we'll be able to go racing on, like you say, Greg, the 9-lap sprint race. One more time then. All right, one more time. We'll take another look at the crash that set it up. Matthew Scott's closing him down. Big wide line. No problems on the entry, but it's on the flip over. He just tags that tire way too close and literally gets ripped off his own bike. He would have felt that on his knee on the impact, but it's more about the position and the tearing off the bike and then the bike actually going and parking itself, hopefully on a little bit of grass. You know what? We may be able to see him get up and ready for the second race, but he will be super sore. He'll need some anti-inflammatories for the muscles and tendons that got torn. But as soon as this rolls out, then we'll start looking at the clear by.
Gugu's also good to go for comments too. Gugu's good to go. He's got a mic now, so we can use Gugu. Right, so as the ER24 take Cam Peterson down towards the medical center, we're going to catch a little bit of a replay of all the highlights so far of race 1 of Super 600s. Now they come into our sights now, and this was the start. It was Matthew Scholz, Cam Peterson, and Blaze Baker. That's the front one. And here we go, down towards turn number 1. Lights were on, lights off. Matthew Scott trying to get the drop off the line and maintain his unbeaten record so far this weekend. But unfortunately, his teammate got a much better start, as always. And Stephen Odendahl is like the pocket rocket, like we like to call him. Blaze Baker with a phenomenal start. But then Cam Peterson uses his motocross skills, sneaks up the inside and says, I know you're going to run wide. I'm going to take the whole shot.
Yeah, Scottsy just bogged down. It was all about Odendahl, but a big lunge into turn 1 from Blaze Baker put his name in the hat. And this was where Blaze Baker really arrived. Got the thing up on his nose. Pretty much a block pass on Matty Scotts, and Matty Scotts had to roll out of that one. So that set up the rest of the race. It was going to be Blaze Baker who was sitting in the 2 spot. Odendahl, though, having all kinds of front-end problems. The front end of the portable shade Kawasaki ZX6 wagging all over the place, and all the while, halfway through lap number 1, the number 1 plated reigning champion Cameron Peterson was running and hiding.
Yeah, he got away nicely. And as he got away, he literally just opened up a commanding lead, which looked like no one was going to be able to run with him. Because initially, the Kawasaki's were having their own little in-house battle. It was Matthew Scott, Stephen Odendahl, Blaze Baker, Nicholas Kershaw. And, yeah, it looked like things were going to be all going the way of Cam Peterson, because he certainly wasn't even near the Kawasaki's as he crossed the line for the first time.
In the background as well, it looked like Shelley might have been able to close onto the back wheel of Kershaw. But I think it was lap 2 or 3 where Shelley made that mistake coming out of Discover Digital turn. That's turn number 2, and that dropped him off the back wheel. So this was the battle that we started watching. It was Odendahl versus Blaze Baker, and then the rest of the guys just started closing and building. Blaze Baker, a little bit ragged in the first couple of laps, but keeping himself in the game. Matty Scotts unable to react. Remember, Matty Scotts, our fastest qualifier, sitting down there in 4th place.
Yeah, and then they came down a little bit further back. You can see Alan John Fenter started to make his way through there on the Wiesenhof Coffee's Triumph SA. The teaser's Triumph of Nicole van Arswegen was there as well, but unfortunately just not able to run with the kind of pace that the 2 Natal boys and Stephen Odendahl were trying to do. As you see, they came in there and pushed hard. Odendahl basically just being closed in ever so slightly and all the time by both Blaze Baker and Matthew Scotts as they looked to get to the front end. The 2 Natal boys certainly wanted to get to the front end and make sure that they were on the podium without any doubts.
Wide lines from Blaze Baker, putting blood in the water and allowing Matty Scotts to start thinking about making a pass. And then there was a second battle that started to build as well. Shelley started getting closed down.
So that was all a little bit of the highlights as we saw the race get underway. Now, unfortunately, we are 2 riders down because it looks like Redmond was also involved. Not Redmond. Redmond, unfortunately, was out earlier on.
And
but
Kamala had his problems as well.
Kamala had some issues, so a couple of bikes down here for the second start. It's a 9-lap race now, and we go to the starters to get us all going. As you can see, they've lined up basically as they were supposed to be finishing up that race. Matthew Scholz alongside Blaze Baker and Stephen Odendahl. Stephen Odendahl, Anthony Shelley. Watch out for them off the start.
Yeah, good gators. Mikey White might be a surprise package because you've got to know that 58 bike that heads up row number 2 is fired up right now. His dad's going to be even more fired up because we've been waiting for the arrival of this kid. He's coming on strong. Fossey, he's got a chance, but he's got to crack it a little bit harder coming off the line. This is just a warm-up for the guys to get some heat in the rubber.
Now they'll just get one lap to just get some heat in the rubber and get it all sorted out now, and then come back to do 9 laps of damage to the circuit again. Hopefully no more damage to the riders, but more damage to what's going to be happening in terms of this championship. Because remember, Stephen Windal comes into this round with a very commanding lead. We're looking at a 50-point lead, 59-point lead over Dean Foss. Matthew Scholz, who is on pole and was now on pole for the second start too, because he was in second place when Cam Peterson went down. He's down in third place, but remember, he wasn't on this team originally. Matt, you picked it up in our opening link there with Gugu. Originally part of RSA Racing, that team has now dissipated completely, is out of South African motorsport, and Brad Annass has decided, you know what, let's give this youngster a home to come and play with. And as always with Brad Annass' team, no team orders, but
no, and he very rarely makes a bad pick. That guy, you know, he picks up riders on the wave as they're coming up, or sometimes in Matty Scott's situation when they've already arrived.
It's great to see that he's putting some support there. Nice to also see that Brent Harron, his teammate from the RSA, has been picked up by BMW, but we'll talk about him later on, and that's what we're going to be seeing. Awesome stuff from them all the way through this, and I really am looking forward to an entire day's worth of racing that is going to make Durban and bring Durban back onto the MSA calendar as an official venue.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an official venue for the national tour, hopefully a couple of the other tours as well, because we know regional superbikes and regional super sport racing down here in particular, always the little bike riders have come good down here. Remember a couple of seasons back when the likes of Egan and Rudman came out of the 125s. They came out of 125s because KZN Racing was so strong back then.
Yeah, well, we got Rudman's brother out there as well, looking good. Malcolm Rudman, another Natal boy. We haven't really mentioned him. He's a bit further down there on the 82 bike. And of course, I'm sure he's running and riding with the fact that Chris is still in the memories there and definitely going to be helping him out here today. But more importantly right now is we're going to go for 9 laps more of this race. And they all come to take up their positions. It's a Natal almost front row there. It's only a southern boy from Gauteng, Stephen Odendaal, who looks to maybe just show these boys the way around. And if he gets it all right,
here we go, green flag.
And Shelley will probably go for the whole shot here down into turn 1.
Odendaal good, Kershaw great off the start as well. Foss gets a good fire off on the now one and only Yamaha brother MTech Racing Machine out there.
Blaze,
but Blaze
Baker is going to whole shot.
Blaze is on. Kershaw goes wow.
Oh,
Shelley.
Anthony Shelley with a massive high side.
Shelley over the top there, and he got in the way of Magic Mike as well, and a lot of the other riders. He will pick that bike up. We will be up and trucking, but we're going to have a very different looking race as Blaze Baker hits the front as Shelley hits the ground.
What a pity there for Anthony Shelley, the fur core Kawasaki. But at the front end, it is Natal boys fighting out there. Durban, make some noise for your people because they are certainly showing us the way around the home track.
And while that chaos went on, watch it, because it's either 4th or 5th place. Temba Kamalo.
Sure, Temba Kamalo getting a great start considering he had a second chance at it because it didn't look like it was going his way in the first one. We saw him pull to the sideline, but here they come into the right-handers now. That's the Durban double. This is where things all went wrong for Cam Peterson. And as they come flying through, brilliant stuff from Blaze Baker. Hangs on and keeps up. Matthew Scholz, that's not an easy thing to do.
Scholz is trying to set this one up early on. Scholz wants clear air from lap number 1, and he's going to try and make it happen. Here we go, he's got a good drive. Watch for the 120, but Blaze Baker is a maniac on the brakes down into Monster Turn. Matty Scholz is going to show the nose up the inside. This is going to be a pass, but will it run wide?
Well, they both run wide under braking. That's due to the wind pumping down the back.
Good move.
To there. Look at that, Dennis Dean Foss in 3rd place. This is an amazing dice. 3, 4, and 5 also looking good. 4 and 5, a little battle at the back there. But 1 and 2 as a change up for the lead.
New leader.
Scott's got to the front end, but Blaze comes back at him.
Yeah, you know what?
He had a big look there.
That's a real good zone. He's so good on the brakes there. He hangs that leg out, like you said, a la Rossi style. But in the right-handers, he seems a little bit better, you know. So that left-hand turn, it just seems to push the front end out. The 1 and 2. This is good news for Baker. Baker can now run and hide on the back wheel of Scholzi. 3rd place is Dean Foss, but we know that Dean Foss, his full qualifying pace should see him actually fall off the back of this, but he should be able to control the 3rd.
Did you check that out, though? Blaze Baker makes a mistake, runs a little bit wide, but he was able to just bring it back. How he did that, I have no idea. He literally just yanked the Kawasaki across and said, no, I'm not going down. I am definitely going to be on the podium here at my home GP. And as they come through into Woods Wiggle, it's another 2 Natal boys showing South Africa that Natal certainly has got some talent when it comes to 2-wheeled riders.
Okay, we know Matthew Scholz will be comfortable in this situation, but Blaze Baker will be extremely nervous in this situation. He's going to have to just control his breathing, bring it back down. He's got a solid 2nd place going on there. Matty Scholz looking over his shoulders. He hangs the head on the aero helmet. 3rd place at the moment is Fossey. Temba Kamalo was in 4th, but he has now been eaten up and beaten up by the rest of the crew. Big fight back happening at the moment by Odendahl and Mikey White. They're going together, the freight train.
5, 6, 7, 8th place on the road, and Temba Kamalo's in there as well. So the Munro Honda's found something. Alan John Fence is down. Oh, and Kershaw goes down.
Oh, well done.
Kershaw goes down. How those riders missed. Great job there from Rudman. Rudman just missed out. And it looks like coming through the rest, Corbin McCullum also had to take evasive action.
That was a high side, extremely
Yep.
exactly the way that Shelley almost did it in race number 1. And Kershaw, who was sitting in the 4th spot at the time and charging on, trying to close up on Dean Foss, limps it away. The Benoni bomber bombing out at the airport.
Well, I'm hoping that the marshals can clear that. Yeah, he bombs out of that one big time, unfortunately. Jacques once again called to duty. Hopefully we can get the motorcycle off the circuit so we don't have to go to red flags.
It's one of the issues. We've got such a short lap as far as like just over a minute goes. This is, we know we haven't got a problem. This guy's super strong. He picked their bike up yesterday with one hit.
It's a little heavier this time, though, because remember, there'll be a little bit more fuel in it. But fortunately, both those, great job there, Kyalami Marshals and the Mnanzi Marshals. Gets rid of the motorcycle as quickly as possible. It'll be under yellow still because the marshals are there, so there'll be no overtaking heading into this turn. But certainly looking like they are allowing the riders through. Yes, indeed. There we go. All riders coming through safely. Great job from our marshals.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Kershaw out of it. But Blaze Baker, wow, look at the way we're looking at things right now. There goes the Benoni bomber. Yes, unfortunately, that Maverick helmet of his is now damaged. But Kershaw, if you can hear us, give us a thumbs up there, buddy.
Okay.
It looks like you're all okay. Just a bike with a little bit of damage. So that is our 4th rider down. This is only race 1.
Yeah, the guys are pushing super hard here. There was no situation with tires. The tires definitely had enough heat in them. On the way out of that turn, check out Scott. He is not happy with this situation. He's coming up on Shelley, one of the lappers, and he will not move over. So this is why we're seeing a bit of frustration coming out.
I'll tell you what's happened here is Shelley's gone into pit lane and changed helmets. Because his helmet was damaged. I saw the visor off. He's actually changed helmets, put another helmet on, and come back out. Now he's under...
Oh, did you see that move?
Take that, Anthony
Scott's
Shelley.
not happy. Get out the way. You're a lap down. Move on over. And unfortunately, that's a situation that could have been collected by a blue flag.
You see, the issue that you've got, though, is Anthony Shelley is able to run the same kind of pace as Matthew Scholz in a normal race. So now he's come out. He's a lap down. He's trying to make up the ground, trying to make up ground for himself, and just gets in the way ever so slightly of the riders that are in the fight for the lead.
Scholz is flustered because Scholz is trying to make his way into his own qualifying lap times again. We just hope that Blaze Baker can actually get himself moving on up there as well, because Baker doesn't want to have to sit on the pace of a rider a lap down. He needs to move on through, get clear air, and get back into his qualifying zone, and a nice clean pass there. Good.
Yeah, I think Anthony Shelley realizes that he's not going to be involved in this race. He's not going to fight with the guys at the front end. That's kind of... Oh,
No
Magic
way.
Mike's gone down. Magic Mike has gone down in the hairpin by the looks of things. That's down at Monster.
Yeah, that's not a good situation. He's flicked himself off, and his left arm
shoulder.
holding. I think collarbone situation, possibly a collarbone situation for Magic Mike, the rider who, at the end of the first running of this race, was sitting in the 4th spot and looking to challenge for a podium. Okay, so
Right.
man, oh
We
man,
come
oh
down
man,
into
are
Monster.
we seeing a lot of situations happening here. Scholz is running away, we're under yellows. Nothing is going to change on this lap because no one can make the pass count. 3rd place goes through picture now, and that's Dean Foss, but we are losing riders. A rider a lap at the moment.
Pretty much it's a bit of a race of attrition here, man, as you said. Alan John Fenter all of a sudden slowly but surely making his way up into a good possibility of about 5th place if I pick that up going through. And there goes Temba Kamala making his way through as well. Once again, some super action here. Kyalami Marshall will be called into action to get rid of that motorcycle and get it off the track as quickly as possible. That is the CRV build machine. And, well, they'll get that bike off. We shouldn't have yellows by the time he gets back there.
Scholz, no problems for him at the moment. He's just going to bang out these laps and stretch himself away. This is the top part of the course. You can see the back end of the bike starting to move around a little bit, and that's only because Scholz is all kinds of loose.
Also because of probably the wind, man. I think that wind is becoming more of a factor than we actually realise.
Also, Scholz is one of the
Look
riders
at the
that's...
background as they're trying to put
I can see it pumping.
But it is pumping.
But
down
also
there.
the fact that Matty Scholz gets on the gas earlier than any other rider out there. That's also why the back end's all over.
Hard braking and Valentino Rossi style, 1 foot out into the monster hairpin.
Custom.
That is extreme. Butter smooth. Butter smooth there from Matthew Scholz. So he hangs on to the lead for now, but how much longer? Because Blaze Baker and him are now fighting for honours. Who's going to be the top Durban boy here this weekend? Comes out of the Discover Digital corner, heads up towards Hangar and the Hangar Straight. It's a big left-hand turn that brings them into the Hangar Straight now.
Just about got bikes all over the circuit at the moment, waiting to be picked up at the end of this race. Long look over,
nice
yeah,
look back
Hangar
there.
Straight.
I
Hangar
got
Straight
this.
is what you've got it. Little look over his shoulder. He just wanted a bit of clear air, bang 2 clean laps, then he looked over his shoulder.
The one thing that I got about that is that he is going to be looking back now. Cameron Peterson was doing that. and all of a sudden it all went wrong. So you do not back out. You give it everything you can. Try and hang on to the front end. Try and remain at least within 95% of your ability. Otherwise, things can and usually do go wrong.
The gap is extending, but we do still have Blaze Baker in the 2 spot. You can see Shelley in the background there. Unfortunately, he's a lap down after going over the bars on the restart. The true 3rd place is actually Dean Foss. As we go back and pick up one of the great battles, trying to see who's going on here. Ricky Lee Weir and Corbin McCallum having a ding-dong battle, and they're going to be looking at one of their highest finishes of the season because, of course, we've lost so many of the other riders. Ricky Lee Weir a little bit loose and lost a lot of speed through Woods Wiggle. 82 machine coming through the shot there. Malcolm Rudman, he's also going to be running pretty high up there.
Oh, Corbin McCallum, another Natal boy here, fighting with Ricky Lee Weir and Temba Kamalo as they go into the Monster Hairpin. A little bit of honours at the back end there. That's probably for about 9, 10 and 11th place on track right now. Although probably maybe even into the top 10 after the bikes that we've lost so far. Timing monitor just down at the moment, but Pro Timing are on their way to come and give us a full reboot. But super action right around the circuit. Look at how Ricky Lee Weir is improving as well. Great to see him up there and fighting with Corbin McCallum. Unfortunately, Temba Kamalo, who was at the front end, dropped out of it for some reason.
Yeah, well, the story was obviously with the restart, he got through when everyone else went down or everyone else had to avoid. He wouldn't have believed his luck. You know, sometimes the hole just opens, you drive straight through it.
So leader comes across and completes another lap. Blaze Baker comes through as well. Looks like somebody being issued a board as well. If we can try and get a shot of that one, it'll help us out. There's a board
Looked like
out.
it was the last lap board, actually. To be honest, I just want to keep an eye on that as we pick up our timing. But it looks like we may be heading on to our last lap.
So last lap board out there for Matthew Skolts. Brilliant stuff. So Blaze Baker in 2nd place. Dean Foss going to be hanging on now. Listen to this, bud. Stephen Oudendal is not in the first 3. And he leads this championship. Dean Foss is 2nd, and he'll be possibly on the podium, as will Matthew Skolts, who needs to close down on his new teammate, Stephen Oudendal.
Well, we almost say that every single round, but this round in particular, with us actually taking such a mid-season break. Oh, we've got another bike there. It's Ricky Lee Weir. We're just thinking commentator's curse, Greg. You owe him that one. Sorry bud. But I'll tell you what.
He was going well, though.
The story, he was spot on. And I was going to say he comes from supermoto and a little bit of scooter racing, so he won't mind these kind of setup courses, and he has become quite a polished rider as well, really gelling with the new ZX6.
Doesn't look like too much damage. Probably just the low side going in there. Maybe under braking, just got it a little bit too hard.
Yeah, he'll just
washed out.
He'll just check it out over the next lap, make sure everything's running good. The flag is out,
and
though.
Matthew Skolts takes the win.
What
Blaze Baker, 2 Natal boys.
What a chaotic first race of the day. I mean,
could we have any more action?
To the crowds,
no,
the people, and the guys at home viewing on live feed, that's how we arrive in Durban. Man,
yes,
oh man,
indeed.
oh man.
First race of the day for the Monster Energy Super GP Champions Trophy, round 5. The KwaZulu-Natal Super GP and Super 600s. I have just shown you why we call them the Brat Pack.
KZN 1 and 2.
That is how you do it. Right there.
There's the front page of the. There's the front page of the paper.
2 KwaZulu-Natal boys, 1 from Pinetown, 1 from Umhlanga, and both of them at their home GP on the podium.
Huge story for the background there. The 49 of Foss. Cameron Peterson went down. Foss picked up the pieces for the brother M-Tech Racing Yamaha squad, 3rd place. And more importantly, like you said, Greg, got it ahead of Stephen Oudendal, championship points leader.
So as they head down onto the back straights now and through Hanger Straight, you'll see lots of celebrations. Oudendal won't be too concerned because he did finish just off the podium in 4th. He'll maintain a decent lead because it's up to Matthew Skolts and, of course, Dean Foss to close that 59-point lead in the championship down. However, it's a lot of work for Stephen Oudendal. It's not quite what he wanted. He definitely wants to be on the podium if things are going to go right for this championship at the end of the season.
Talk about a lot of work for the Kyle Army Marshals and the recovery crew to go and pick up these bikes, because there is a entire motorbike showroom of bikes out there, and a lot of work is going to have to go into getting these repairs done before their next race. So a huge story as we move forward in our day's program. We'll be running a little bit behind schedule, but we will be on track and catch it up. The next race of the day will be the first running of the Super M's. But wow, have they got something to match when it comes to racing. The first race of the day, the Super 600s. First win of the day, going well to our fastest qualifier, Matthew Skolts. Blaze Baker, what a hard charge from the number 51 rider. He is going to be pumped with that. 2nd place is going to feel like a win to the local kid. Commiserations to our long list of riders that went down. Firstly, Cameron Peterson, who was leading the race. Then Kershaw, Shelley. Oh man, the list goes on. Mikey White. So many people went down the road in this one. All right, so if you're out there in spectator land, I hope you enjoy all of our racing for the day. We've got a full time coming. So tons and tons of people pumping in here. If we had grandstands, they would be full, but right now the fences are full and people are climbing over each other to get the best view of the best racing in South Africa at the moment. We've just done the Super 600s, heat number 1. All right, the riders getting themselves into Park for May. The top 3 coming down here. Matty Scholtz, big hugs to the team. Yeah, they gave him a good bike. Team owner Brad Anassis, super pumped on that one. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. Teammates, if you get 2 of your boys on the podium, doesn't matter which position they're in, but he'll be happy with that. And Odendahl coming on through.
Chairman of Gas Sports.
Odendahl will be getting pushed back because obviously we'll be waiting for Dean Foss to make on through.
1-2, 1-2.
Dean Foss taking the 3rd place. Oh, we've got Greg down there.
I think we're good to go down here. Matt, I just want to jump in and quickly give you a heads up. There's a lot of Natal support down here. We've got some Natal support on the far side there because you've got three riders on the podium and 2 of them come from the Banana Boy area. So Durban, you should be making noise for these guys. Let's get them up onto the podium though and take you through what's going to be happening in terms of this podium ceremony. In 3rd place, riding out a Portable Shade Kawasaki team. He's had a bit of an up and down weekend so far, but he's definitely up on the podium now. Going up into the 3rd spot, Stephen the Pocket Rocket Odendahl. In 2nd place, first of our Natal boys, and what an awesome dice this man had. He certainly was up there and giving it everything he can to make sure that his team, Muscle and Fitness Gym, Russell Wood, and of course JBR Racing are in the house here today. Let's give it a big round of applause for the man from Pinetown, Blaze Baker! And on top of the podium, an amazing effort here, and what an awesome dice we've had this entire race. Up and down for a lot of riders, but on top and number 1 for the first race in Super 600s. For his first time out and first time of asking for Brad Anassis' Portable Shade Kawasaki team, let's hear it for him, Schlanger Rocks' own Matthew Scholtz. Handing over 3rd place trophy, Mr. Anthony Lata from Gas Sports to Stephen Odendahl. Congratulations, Stephen. Once again, a great ride. Well done, Blaze. Well done, Matthew, but eventually getting the trophy there. And a good effort from Stephen Odendahl for 3rd. He maintains his lead in the championship. That's what he's looking to do right now, consolidation. Stephen Watson from Gas Sports will hand out to 2nd place man from Pinetown there, Blaze Baker. And, of course, Russell Wood's prodigy. And the chairman of Gas Sports, Sevilla Mamandla, will be handing out to Matthew Scholtz for 1st place in the first Super 600s here today at the KwaZulu-Natal Super GP. One more time, ladies and gents, a big round of applause for your podium. Matthew Scholtz 1st, Blaze Baker 2nd, and Stephen Odendahl in 3rd.
Thank you, boys. Thank you. Hey, Blaze, good ride. Thank you.
All right, so great riding for our boys. Thanks to the podium guys down there. And wow, oh wow, look at that grin on Matty Scholtz and Blaze Baker. They are going to be talking about this one for a while. A race stacked and packed with incidents. And we're going to be catching up and chatting to the boys down there now that they've almost caught their breath.
Testing 1, 2. Stephen, congratulations for a fantastic race. How are the conditions out there?
Oh, the conditions were hard for me, you know, but I just try to keep a good rhythm and try to push as hard as I could. Obviously, we're not on form like Matthew is, my teammate, but we'll be there in the next race, and hopefully we'll have a better race. I nearly got taken out like 3 times, so I'm glad I got the points and extended the championship by a few points. So good.
Great stuff. Thank you. All right, we're talking to Pine Town Boy. Tell us, mate, you're down. Obviously, this is your home round. How was the experience out there today?
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. Riding up in the front, second time now in a row. It's really awesome. Huge thanks to Russell Wood, my team, my mom, dad, all the family who's come out to watch me today. Thank you.
And to the man of the moment. A big race for you. Congratulations. You're obviously the man to beat today. How are the conditions out there, and how's it been? The first one to win, the very first race out here in Durban.
Yeah, no, throughout every single practice I saw that I had a really good pace. So I knew that if I got out front, that I could try to hold everyone back, and it seemed to work. Obviously, there was a lot of wind, and obviously we had to change braking markers and stuff, but times were still fast, and yeah, it was a really good race, and I'm really happy to be here in front of my home crowd, and thank you to everyone that's helped me get here.
Great stuff. Are we going to have a double for the day later on?
Hopefully we'll see you. Cheers, guys.
Non-stop. So make sure you've got a good seat, because race 2 of the Super 600 Brat Pack about to make their way back onto circuit. So Super 600 is on track now, as you can see, making their way around there, and all the people out there in social media land, make sure you are catching up with us. Remember, go on to supergp.co.za. You can get all the live streaming coming straight to your computer or onto your smart TV at home. And of course, if you are around in the social media aspect, you want to join us on Twitter, it's at SA_SuperGP, Super-GP Champions Trophy on Facebook. Geez, I've got to try and remember all these things, I remember. So, yeah. At Super. Twitter is all about at SA_SuperGP, Super-GP Champions Trophy on Facebook, and SuperGP Small Case SA on WeChat. Awesome effort there from our Super GP riders. Race 1. Remember, race 2 is going live on SABC 3 at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's why we're pushing so hard to get all these races done and dusted, to ensure that we get the crossover time spot on. On track at the moment, as they've made their way out, is the Brat Pack. The Brat Pack, known due to the fact that the majority of these riders still in their teens. And when I say the majority of them, almost all of them are. Matthew Scholz, Umschlanger Rox's Rocket, has certainly going to come through here to show us if he's got it again and can get to the front end. He has not been better this weekend, and certainly looks like he wants to do it again and get to the top end. 1-2-0 is on pole, and that's the man that they all got to try and catch. Matthew Scholz just getting a little bit of a visor wipe there from Brad Onassis. He is fired up to try and get another victory here, because remember, it is all about him for the double today if he gets it right. Then he's going to be fighting not only with his teammate Stephen Odendahl as part of the Portable Shade Kawasaki team, but also be fighting out for honors with the top honors for the local men, in other words, the Banana Boys. And Blaze Baker is on the front row with him. Unfortunately, though, Matt, as I look down, I do not see Cam Peterson on the grid. And that's a big concern for me. I didn't get any updates out there from anybody. Unfortunately, there was no one to jump and grab hold of to find out what is actually up with Cam Peterson. And check that out. On the left-hand side there, that's Roxy Watson, one of the Miss Earth finalists, and she's going to be helping Blaze Baker out as an umbrella lady.
Yeah, great to have her down there. But yeah, another word on my thought on the Cameron Peterson situation. I did actually catch his uncle while I was down there. He says big tear to the groin, possibly breaking the skin as well, because he did get ripped off that bike pretty hard. Obviously, we know that the team were a full pro setup down there at MTech Brother Racing Yamaha. A spare bike was in hand, so if he could have ridden, he would have ridden. And commiserations to Cameron Peterson to unfortunately have to leave another race weekend with an injury. Yeah,
that's a big pity there. It's unfortunately what happens with this racing and the kind of action that we've had so far today.
We do have a couple of the other crashes back into the mix. Great shot there on cue. Thanks so much. Nick Kershaw, the Benoni bomber, swapping back to his original helmet. Good to have you back out there, Nick Kershaw, and certainly a rider that can take a podium if he wants to. So he's going to be pushing hard and seeing what he can do out there. The rest of the Kawasaki boys are going to be on it. Dean Foss wants to get himself up the road, and Shelley will want to recover from his own mistake after the first race. Yeah, flat out all the way, locked to the cable. 44, the pocket rocket, Stephen Odendahl. He's been trying to find whatever has been going wrong with him or his bike the whole way through the weekend. He looks like he's fired up and ready to rock it. He wants to go all the way forward this time.
So it's 20 laps to go now for our Super 600 race. It's a 15 lapper for the Super M's and a 25 lapper for the Super GP class. So 20 laps to go, but this one of course doesn't count. This is still a warm-up and come to take up the positions for the race start. Oh, Odendahl didn't get quite the start he wanted, but he certainly looked like he was going to give the crowd a thrill as he put it on the back wheel down towards turn number 1. And coming out of turn 1, it's actually our Isle of Man TT rider on the Wiesenhof Coffee's Triumph SA machine, Alan John Fenter. Look out for him. He came through the field nicely in race number 1, and I'm sure we're going to see more of that heading into race number 2.
I got to think that the warning flags have been out, and everyone is absolutely terrified of turn number 1, lap number 1 at the moment. It's just not going to be the one. Everyone trying to stay way out of trouble. And watch, and this is a comment that I know you'll like, Greg. Watch how many people have swapped out helmets, either for crash damage or for just pure luck. I know if I've had a bad race 1, I'll always swap out to helmet number 2. It's just the way we go. So Matty Scholz is still the man to watch out for, and the man to watch out for in the championship is the 44 of Odendahl. He won't like to not take wins, but he's a very shrewd rider and also has become one of those mature guys that can run a good championship. Foss, it's this time of the season where Foss starts climbing the ladder as well. He can take wins, and he's just trying to figure out something. I think it's the back of the course where he's actually battling with the bumps. Can't get the Yamaha to fire and almost spinning him out the saddle. He says he's really having to just hang on, and it's making him ride tight. So he's just got to learn to ride a little bit looser and relax himself on the 49. Now only, one and only, Yamaha M-Tech Brother Racing Yamaha R6. Front row, all about the Kawasaki's at the moment. And once again, Blaze Baker on the outside, Matty Scholz, and all about the pocket rocket in the middle, just one row back, the 44 of Odendahl. Watch out for Malcolm Rudman as well. He's going to get himself into a very good position on the 82 blue machine in the middle. And here we go. We are racing once again. Good drop of line this time for Scholz. As he clicks it up a gear, he gets to climb and moves everyone across to the outside. Scholz goes outside, opens up the door for Blaze Baker as he gets ragged, and Kershaw gets used to the
right down at the back. Ricky Lee Weir by the looks things. Oh, write it down. Yes, Ricky Lee Weir and Nicole Van Oswijk, and the teaser's Triumph has gone down too.
That was just pretty much a fall off for Nicole. She had to avoid Ricky Lear, and yeah, she's a tiny rider. She needs some help picking this bike up. So both those riders out the back of the pack getting tangled up, and yeah, they've gone down. It's the normal 3 at the front, and this time around, Shelley is in 4th.
Yeah, Shelley in 4th. Alan John Fenter on the Wiesenhof Coffee's Triumph SA 675 is in 5th place there, tucked in just behind. So 4 Kawasaki's and then a Triumph 675. That's a 3-cylinder 675cc machine, and Alan John is on and pushing hard to try and stay with these Kawasaki's. He's certainly come to grips with the circuit now and knows what he's got to do to try and run with these. But look at the steam train at the front end as the 3 Kawasaki's pull away. Shelley holding up the rest of the field there pretty much as it's Kershaw on his tail.
Oh, Blaze Baker, look at it, got it on the back wheel there, had to roll it back, and that's going to give back 2nd place to Odendahl, but it's going to get super tight down into the braking markers as Baker just forces everything wide. We're on yellows because of those riders that were down, and the bikes are on the outside of the circuit. Good work, and we might even see Nicole able to rejoin this one.
Well, she'll rejoin, and unfortunately in a situation very similar to what Kinsella found in Super GP, where he's a lap down. Unfortunately, not going to be the way that she wanted to start and finish this weekend, because remember, this is the 2nd and final race now for our Super 600s. Matthew Scholz at the front end and decided, let's get the rocket out of here, because he is definitely on a flyer, and I think he wants to get to Umhlanga Rocks a bit earlier than most.
So enjoying watching Blaze Baker at the moment, super confident. Even when he made that mistake, he was able to recover and hang on to that 2nd place. So I think Odendahl is just trying to stay out of trouble. Again, he could have put a wheel up the inside. He could have forced a rider wide. He's happy as long as he can take that 3rd place. And look at the gap they've got. It is a great train at the back there for 4th place, and they are literally tripping over each other to get around Shelley.
Yeah, and Shelley basically holding everybody up there. And right now, yes, indeed, they're lined up. Anybody wants through, they're going to have to find a way past Anthony Shelley.
Watch
Very
this,
good on the
across
brakes.
the line. There's going to be 6 riders all over each other. Late on the brakes is going to be Shelley. But watch out. There are 6 riders heading into turn number 1, and it's going to get wild.
Now coming out of turn 1 now, you can see those guys heading off down there. That is 2nd and 3rd place. Heads up on the next pack, because here they come. And on the braking marker, 2nd and 3rd place down into Discover Digital. Stephen Udendahl closing in and looking for a way through.
Udendahl just knows. Oh,
Right it down.
Kamala
Oh, no.
goes down once again. He was in that bunch as well. Yes, he was at the back of the bunch, but he was in that bunch, and I think he just got collected. You know what? When you're in a bunch like that,
Wow,
look at these
check
guys
this
going to
bunch.
hang out. That was Rudman. Rudman goes and gets a little bit wild, and he's going to go to the back of the class, and it's going to be Kershaw that will be able to recover. Remember, Kershaw got boxed out in turn 1, lap 1, and he's at the back of the pack. It's going to be tricky.
Fenter is the front of that pack.
Foss goes through with him.
Dean Foss on his tail. Then looks like Kershaw snuck in behind them. No, that's Rudman. Kershaw falling to the back there. Anthony Shelley also having some issues. So it's Alan John Fenter that now leads out for the 4th place battle as he comes up and looks for a way through. Alan John Fenter, our Isle of Man TT rider, has now got a chance of getting onto the podium if something goes wrong with the guys up the front end. Dean Foss will want to get up there too, because remember, Dean Foss came into this round in 2nd place in the championship, and unfortunately not such a good outing for him in the first race. He's now going to have to make up lots of ground to try and maintain his 2nd place over Matthew Scholz, who looks like he might get a double victory today.
Nice ride from Rudman as well. First time we've been able to talk about him maybe tracking his way into the top 5. So good to see Baby Blue getting himself up there to 82. A very strong number on his bike, but this is going to be a great story. Yeah, they know they're a long way off the pace of the front 3, but AJ Fenter will do well to hang on to this situation.
Well, Matt, remember that AJ Fenter, that's the man on the number 39 bike, that Triumph, unfortunately has missed out on 2 rounds. He didn't make it to Cape Town, he didn't make it to the East London round of the Super GP due to his commitment to Top Gun Racing and his Isle of Man team. Oh, Dean Foss sneaks up on the inside of Alan John as they come up on a back marker.
Yeah, AJ rolled out of that one because they came up on Ricky Lee Weir as they entered Durban doubles, and he had to roll out of that one. It's killed his entire back sector because Dean Foss is gone. There's no way of actually going with him now.
He's lost the drive and lost on the back end of the chase there, but let's see whether or not the Triumph can make a recovery. Rudman's got through on them as well, so Rudman's going to go with, and that's a massive look. Kershaw battled to find a way through on the 34 bike.
Kershaw is just
ever so slightly in the
having
way.
such bad luck. He always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time this weekend, but a rider who on paper should run top 3s.
Another Natal boy starting to make his way to possibly top 5 if he can get past AJV. Alan John Fenter now under pressure from Rudman. Malcolm Rudman going to look to get another one of the Natal boys up into the top 5. He's got to get past the man from Inbel. It's not going to be easy to do, because Alan John has certainly got a wily head on him and knows how to keep that Triumph of his very wide if necessary.
And smooth as well. A completely different style on the street circuit. AJ doesn't hang off as much. He's trying to just carry mid-corner speed and not clip those tires. Most importantly, the first massive crash of the day coming from Cameron Peterson. Groin injury as he got literally ripped off his machine and he went into a tire.
Man, unfortunately, I don't want to have to say it, but I think that might have cost Cam a chance of retaining that number 1 plate here. If he's not going to finish both races, that's 50 points gone. And dropping another 50 points when he's only down in 5th place on 87 points. It's going to be a massive task to try and make up that ground. And yep, I think he'll look for race victories heading into the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, I mean,
the championship might have gone.
We're running out of rounds, and the worst thing is if he's got an injury and we are only 3 weeks away from the next round, he may miss the next round as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm concerned about. Now into the braking markers with Discover Digital. Crossing style coming out of Blaze Baker as always, and the muscle and fitness gym man is certainly working hard to maintain 2nd place. He wants to make it the Natal boys back on top of the 2 steps of the podium.
I'll tell you what, the way that he's riding, he's got a chance to maybe step onto one of the big factory support teams for next season, because he is definitely a championship contender. One of the younger guys out there as well, stepping up. We've watched him come through the ranks in the northern regions. I think it was only last season or maybe the season before when he was on those 125s. And the kids that have come out of 125s in the past are so strong when it gets onto the 600s. Crazy riding style.
Udendahl is starting to put the pressure on Tim, so I think it's a case of maybe giving Brad Onassis a bit of a happy birthday present for yesterday. They'd like to have the portable shade Kawasaki's 1 and 2. Now, as they cross the line, we have completed 6 of what is going to be 20 laps here, so still a long way to go. And fastest lap has just come out of Matthew Scholz. 105.898, fastest lap there from Matthew Scholz.
Yeah, that's danger zone for everyone else, but we knew that pretty much after session number 1, where he was able to run almost a second ahead of Cameron Peterson. realistically, Cameron Peterson was the only rider that was going to be able to trouble the back wheel of Scholz, but every time that Cameron went out, every single time in session, he got a fastest lap, went to the Yamaha rider, then the immediately next lap went to Scholz, and then he blew that time away by another second. So that had to just be demoralizing for Cameron Peterson. And in race number 1, even when he was leading, he was getting closed down even before he crashed.
So out of Durban Double and heading into the Pirelli bus stop. Battle continues. A little bit of battle at the back there. That is the other Natal rider, of course, Corbin McCullum, fighting things out and looking for a way to keep the triumph behind him. That's the teaser's triumph of Nicole van Aswegen. And Nicole, well, she's managed to get back up on the bike and is now looking to come through. Looking at the timing monitor, she actually hasn't been picked up by the timing monitor at all. So I would say she's down in 14th place, even though she's fighting with what is currently 8th place rider on the track, Corbin McCullum.
Another wily rider, Nicole. You know, she's been in national championship racing for a very long time, and she knows the #1 rule. You've got to finish a race.
Exactly, and I can tell you something, she's already had a top 10 and in fact just missed out on a top 5 finish in the Super 600 category.
Oh, here we go. Oh, squirming on the brakes there. You know what? Everyone thinks if you're a light rider, it's easy to stop the bike. It's almost harder. It really is.
It definitely makes your life a little bit more difficult heading into the braking markers. Corbin McCullum, though, looks over his shoulder and realizes that he's in a bit of a battle here. It's nice to see the Natal guys giving the upper state guys and girls a good run for their money,
No, but
especially here at the home circuit.
Yeah, realistically, the only time that the Northern the guys get to race is if they come up onto the Highveld and race in the Northern Regions Championship, or every now and again, I know they do some short circuit racing down here, but nothing where you can really unleash the huge horsepower that these 600cc bikes are making nowadays.
Well,
and Kawasaki is the bike of choice. You can see it.
Yeah, Corbin McCullum has only completed the Tekisa round, which was round 1. He missed out on both Red Star, Killarney, and East London. So he's now taking up a little bit of lost ground. He currently sits down in 21st place in the championship, but Nicole van Aswegen in the top 10.
Oh, a big change up here. So Rudman has come through on AJ Fender. So AJ, his race pace, unfortunately, not what he would want it to be as the Yamaha comes through on him. And a great run for Rudman. I'm really impressed with this kid's riding. To say that he can actually run ahead of Kershaw, and Kershaw a lot of national competition as well, and should, like you say, be able to run some good pace, but he's on bike number 2 now after his crash.
Yeah, and to get ahead of Alan John Fenter too, so well done Malcolm Rudman, another Natal guy who is definitely coming into his own here on home ground advantages.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing with Nick Kershaw, just as my brain starts spitting all this information at me, spare bike, then I remind myself, okay, spare bike means stop gearing.
Stop gearing and possibly no changes that they've done onto the race prep bike. So all of those changes, even though they would have tried to get it in between, I don't know if they would have enough time to do all those tweaks.
Yeah,
well, it seems as if Anthony had some issues with his bike at this moment in time. It seems it was the foot peg issue, but it seems as if he got it sorted out. He's on the track. Over to the commentary team.
Thanks, Gooks, and great work down there. You're on the hop and like to see it. There's so many stories going on in the pits. It's great to have Gooks down there to pick up on what's going on. So just to confirm that there's Anthony Shelley having bike problems and having to come in, and he's going to lose some numbers.
I can tell you another man who's having bike problems is Ricky Weir since he had that little incident. Here comes the move. 20 versus 21. Definitely Nicole wants to change that position around. 21 ahead of 20 is where she wants to be. And of course, she's still got to make up a lap, though, so that's why she's pushing so hard.
There's the pass.
On the inside, though, there's the move.
And there is the advantage of being small. She can literally rocket that thing, and she doesn't really have to make the pass under brakes because it's already happened. She just has to control the pass under brakes. Good move, and we're seeing the number 21 of Nicole van Aswegen move herself up.
Nice little maneuver there as well. She comes through. Ooh, almost tips it in, though, and front wheel nearly washed out, getting into a hanger. Onto the hanger straight now and down towards Durban Double. Nicole van Aswegen certainly hanging on now and trying to keep out Corbin McCullum's little challenge from behind.
Yeah, she's pretty much trying to unlap herself as well because she has only completed the 6 laps. So next time around, it should show her back onto the same number. Certainly as far as
change
McCullum goes.
up. John Fenter retakes
so
the position on Rudman.
Rudman's had a problem there because he looked like he was stretching away from AJ. Rudman is making mistakes.
It's not the way. Oh, yeah, look at that massive wheelie from Rudman down the back straight. Yeah, certainly an issue on that motorcycle. It's not quite handling the way he likes it.
He was looking so good a couple of laps ago, and he's obviously made that one mistake. And then, just that small percentage of concentration goes, and one mistake becomes 5.
Alan John Fenter, though, keeps it smooth as always on the Wiesenhof Coffee House Triumph SA 675, and looks to now open up a little bit of a margin over Malcolm Rudman. Malcolm Rudman looking good. He's in 6th place though, so still in with a shot. Leader is untroubled. Matthew Scholz has done it all right now. Stayed out of trouble, completely dominated from the front end. See how well he's working hard, and yes, the Umhlanga rocket is certainly on it.
I got you there. I used to come down here all day in the 80s. Umhlanga Rocks, that was December, buddy. Every single time. I love those trampolines down there.
I'm so glad his dad told me he's from Umhlanga Rocks, because that's going to stick forever now. I'm sorry. If he doesn't have that on the back of his leathers by the time we get to the next round, we're going to have some serious words with the Scholz.
So it gets written Umhlanga Rock dash it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I can see it in my head. But Scholz, you know what? His worst lap has been a 106 flat. His best lap has been a 105.5. He is just controlling things perfectly out there. In fact, he's having his own time trial.
Yeah, just banging in the laps, boom, 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 all the time. And Matthew Scholz, well, change up in the background though. Check out 2nd place battle.
Blaze Baker still there. You know what?
Yeah, they come in towards Wiggle.
Odendahl is, I don't know if he's just happy to follow around there or what, but we need to be aware that there will be a close-up for that 4th place.
Heading down towards Monster Hairpin now, Monster Energy Hairpin. We have got 12 laps done.
That's Kamala in the background, a lapper. Sorry about that.
8 laps to go now, 12 done. And Blaze Baker trying to control things from 2nd place. But I tell you, it's not easy to do that when you've got a man who has podiumed in Moto3 in Spain.
Where they literally breed MotoGP riders.
Yes, indeed. Stephen Odendahl, he is the championship leader. He has extended his lead. Remember, he would have scored 20 points for his 2nd place in race 1. And that's going to move him up into, I beg your pardon, 3rd place. He'll give him 16 points. So he's going to move up to 195-point lead over Dean Foss. And then, of course, Matthew Scholz scoring that 25 will move him closer to Dean Foss.
And it's turning into a weird championship. It really is. The reason that Stephen Odendahl is leading the championship is firstly because he's a cracking good rider. Secondly, every single round he's bringing home not only a good finish, but he's finishing every single race. All the other riders are finishing first and then crashing. First, crashing, crash first. The maths just doesn't work out.
Consistency is what the word I think we're all going to look for there is. That's what he's done right through the season. Looking at the way he's gone, 2 wins at round 1. He then had a little bit of a dismal round at Red Star. He doesn't quite like that circuit, but then came back in Cape Town with a double victory. In East London, a double victory. So certainly just maintaining at the front end. And as you said, the guys who have won races, other guys who have won races, like Cam Peterson, like Matthew Scholz, have either gone good and bad on the weekend and not been as consistent as Odendahl has.
And Scholz missing that 1 round as well. So the huge story will be the charge to the front of the championship, certainly to trouble the 2nd place step. Is going to be the guys that can just keep finishing the races. Shelley is all over the place at the moment. This is a very uncharacteristic weekend for Anne Shelley.
Anthony Shelley fighting it out there, but remember, looking at the timing monitor, is a little bit further down than what he likes. That's because he's fighting with Nicholas Kershaw. Kershaw sitting in the 7th spot right now. So it looks like Shelley's made up a little bit of ground there compared to what we're seeing on the lap board. Oh no, I lied. He did have issues earlier on, so he's a couple of laps down.
So Shelley's on the fight back. Kershaw gets sent 1 more place back, and Kershaw, what was that? See that big dust up coming off the back of Kershaw? A very strange situation there.
Quite the way he wants to be riding that bike, as you said, on the T-bike, so the spare bike is certainly not going to be the same setup as his race bike. Fortunately, he's got that spare bike, so he can compete and still score some points.
Kershaw's looking down at his bike. That may have been the fuel tank opening up, because that's the only thing that can spray against your chest. We'll keep an eye on the blue bike in the background at 55.
Maybe they didn't put the fuel cap on properly.
Because that was a huge problem there. See Kershaw's distracted. Kershaw is definitely distracted. There's something gone wrong on that bike. So the 55 machine, the spare bike of Nicholas Kershaw after he went down in the first race under braking.
Have a look and see there.
No, the tank is closed, but there was definitely something that hit his chest. It looked to me like it was a fluid.
Well, there's a little bit of things flapping on the windscreen there as well. I can see a little bit of maneuvering there. I'm not quite sure, maybe that's over where the brake reservoir might be.
We're heading into the zone where the situation happened. He was close to the back wheel of Shelley. He could have just taken some roost off Shelley, but we'll try and pick up on what was happening there with Kershaw. Certainly towards the end of this race, we'll try and get Googs down there to speak to the crew.
Incoming.
And see if they're aware of any of the situations going on with his bike.
5 laps to go, and it's the 51 bike keeping 24 at bay for now. But I wonder if Stephen Undal's just hanging tight and going to maybe try a little bit of maneuver to sneak through. Drifting wide, going into hangar. Blaze Baker maintains second place. It's a massive lead out of 10 seconds that Matthew Scholz has got over Baker, and he, of course, leading comfortably on the first of the portable shade Kawasaki's. The second portable shade Kawasaki, though, right on Baker's tail, and in fact, 0.3 of a second behind him.
Yeah, he has literally been his shadow the entire way through this race. They know that they can't get to the leader. There's the leader going in the background. Leader about to cross the stripe, and he's coming up on the lappers now, so he's coming up on Corbin McCallum, who was having that great dice earlier on, and seems to have fallen off the back wheel of the Triumph now.
2 leaders heading, or second and third place heading down to the Monster Energy hairpin. Corbin McCallum, another Natal rider, having a great weekend here. Really good to see the youngster getting to grips with things. As I said, he's only done 1 round. He's now into the second round officially, and that is second and third place heading up to catch him. So it looks like McCallum has been caught by his fellow Natal man. Here comes Alan John Fenter as he heads down towards Monster Energy. We go back to the battle, but Temba Kamala also doing a slight bit of recovery work. He's now into the top 10 after having an incident earlier on.
Yeah, just trying to work on his setup, work on his style. First year into Super Sports, and look at that thing is wagging all over the place. They're going to have to dial in the steering damper because he's really not able to control that bike under power.
And they come, I know that they're working hard, looking at a few rule changes and some new changes for next season to hopefully bring Honda back and HRC back in a big way. They are supporting that rider, Temba Kamala. We're talking about, wow, a little bit of squirrely coming out of there. But also some big news coming into the mix soon. It looks like we might see the return of Suzuki next year, Matt. Both into 600 Supersport and into our Super GP category.
And that'll work perfectly because, of course, we've got Suzuki on the world stage coming back into MotoGP. A couple of high names coming into that one as well. I mean, Ghana Hopkins, but a couple of guys stepping off other machinery to head up the Big S.
Yeah, it'll be great to have them back in South African motorsport. I'm looking forward to that if it is the case, because it was definitely punted at the amateur show a few weeks ago that the possibility of a factory supported, not a full factory team, but a factory supported team will be out there from Suzuki South Africa.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see. Like I say, you can leverage off the fact that they're coming back onto the world scene, and South African motorsport and South African motor ring reacting very nicely, and good job for Suzuki and all the other manufacturers for coming back into the mix.
Extremely impressed with the way that Matthew Scholz is riding. Very patient, goes on the inside.
Oof,
oh, nice.
That was a little bit
The blue
risky.
flags were waving though, so I got to give it up to the marshals there for helping him out a little bit. It wasn't all Ricky Lee Weir there. Ricky saw the blue flags at the last minute, sat up and realized that Scholz was coming through. So good riding from Weir too. And Corbin McCallum also sneaking past him. Ricky unfortunately falling by the wayside now, down in 13th place, and he is 4 laps down on the leader as he's just been lapped.
Yeah, it looked like he's literally just cruising out there, not happy, can't get the setup right, and obviously with his problems from the first corner, having to do the full recovery run. Great close-up, great camera work action from Scholzi as he climbs all over that bike and wrings its neck. The 120 is just dominating. He has now dropped into the 107s. The 107s is because he's coming through the traffic. He still attacks every single lap as if he's got Rossi on his back wheel.
No, he's not going to hold back. It's kind of how you have to ride, Matt. I think if you do roll out, if it's a slightly, your attention span unfortunately catches you out and you could actually make mistakes. So when you stay on about 95% of your ability, which is exactly what he's doing right now, because if you look at the lap times, his ability is able to get into, I think, into the 105, low 105s, maybe the 102s. He's now lapping in the 107s, so that's within 95% of his ability.
Across the stripe, 1 lap remaining for our race leader as he comes up. So I was going to say it's a one-man band at the moment. There's no one going with him, and he's coming through on the lappers, about to go through on the 21 Triumph, the teaser's Triumph of Nicole van Alsbeeken.
Heading down into the closing stages now. Matthew Scholz closing up onto the 21 bike, the teaser's Triumph of Nicole van Alsbeeken, and probably will get her and get past. If not, he'll probably roll out of it if he can't get to them. Kershaw's rolled out of it. He's pulled to the sideline, so he knows his day is done. Not the way he wanted to end that out, that's for sure.
Yeah, Benoni Bomber really took a couple of big hits. He's taking some shrapnel home with him and have to do some work on the number 1 bike. Won't be happy with the setup on the number 2. Definitely had a problem on that machine, and he's going to go no better than the 7th place that he is in. And his body language said that he was going to pull this one off. But we're taking our leader to the flag. And Matty Scotts goes 2 for 2 at Durban.
Is that the Durban double?
It definitely is. And we've been setting that one up for a while. It looked like on paper he was going to be able to dominate. And an incredible chicken dance from the 51. Blaze Baker gets up and takes second place. Wow, this kid has arrived.
2 Natal boys on the podium again. Stephen Oudendal, the teammate to Matthew Scholz, will finish up in 3rd place. Great effort there from Stephen Oudendal. Dean Voss, well, he's still going to be in the hunt, I think, for 2nd place in this championship. It's going to be extremely close between Matthew Scholz and Dean Voss, because Dean Voss finishes in 4th place now. I think Matthew Scholz may have moved up into 2nd place in the championship. If I do the maths quickly, 50 points up on that will make him go to 166 points. Dean Voss will only be scoring a couple. Yeah, Matthew Scholz definitely going to move to 2nd place in the championship. That is now Portable Shade Kawasaki's 1 and 2 in the championship, headed to Swartkops.
That's huge, man. If they had 3 riders, that's exactly where Brad would be heading. But now the racing is done, so now we can sacrifice some Pirelli rubber. Big burnout for the boys. And that's Oudendal in the American that's just happy with that. He's going to be happy to maintain and extend off the front. But Blaze Baker has arrived, and he's now going to set his sights firmly on a podium position come the end of the season in the points. Blaze Baker, give it up for Natal's own 51 rider. Dean Voss did a great job to get himself up there into 4th place, and he brings home, once again, consistent points for the M-Tech brother Yamahas. AJ Fenter comes in at number 5 spot, and then Malcolm Rudman in the baby blue Yamaha R6 gets a good job done on his 82 machine for 6th. Corbin McCallum, rock solid in 7th. Then it was Dylan Barnard, Temba Kamalo, Nick Kershaw, Nicole Van Aswegen, Anthony Shelley, and Ricky Lee Weir. But the boys are coming in to celebrate a podium once again. Now they can step off, now they can celebrate, and now you can give all your love for a 2-time winner on the first time of asking on the streets of Durban, Matty Scholz. We'll get the guys in there, we'll get them down off their bikes parked at Park for May, and I promise you, it is going to go off. All right, so the guys coming in there, celebrations all around. Oudendal doesn't look too happy, but he's going to get told you're still in the championship points lead, you're still clear and off the front. Ever the professional Oudendal, just giving feedback to team boss and his mechanics so they can find a little bit more out of this bike next time we go racing. There's Blaze Baker, another 2nd place, and rock and roll, and he will not believe
Matt,
what he's
sorry
been
to
able
jump
to do.
in. I also just need to make a general announcement all the way down to Malcolm Rudman's pit to get him up here, because he's going to be taking our rookie of the day. So Malcolm Rudman, if you're down in pit lane, please bring your motorcycle and your track stand, and of course yourself up here. We want to put you on the podium for the 2nd podium of the day here for the Super 600s. An absolutely awesome race day so far. Not as action-packed as the first one, thank goodness, because wow, did we have some action in race number 1 here this weekend. And Durban, I'm sure you guys are enjoying every bit of the KwaZulu-Natal round of Super GP here on the Durban Street Circuit on the old Durban Airport. That's what it's all about. But speaking of Durban, it's 2 more Natal boys back up onto this podium. I'm just waiting for Malcolm to make his way down to us. I know that he can probably hear me on the PA system and get that motorcycle of his up here too.
The great scenes down there here as you get yourselves ready. Brent Harron stepping off and congratulating a former teammate. Just showing all the love. The guys have put on a good show and everyone is super happy.
Garrick Flock, please, as well. Garrick Flock to come and see the COC. Garrick Flock and the MSA steward, please come and see the MSA steward and the COC. Malcolm Rudman, as quickly as possible, bud, because we are running out of time. We've got a live television crossing. So Malcolm Rudman, please make your way up here as quickly as possible. Thank you.
All right, so before we get into the podium ceremonies, and you can jump in, Greg, if you start getting on time there. Obviously, we've just wrapped up the 2nd heat of the Super 600s. We'll be going forward now, and on the schedule, it looks like it's going to be pit walk and the lunch break. And after that, we'll start things off once again with race 2 of the Super M's before we wrap up.
Just heads up behind, guys. Heads up behind. Rider coming through.
Oh, that's Rudman just joining the party. Great ride, a great result from the Natal man.
So let's get them up onto the podium. First and foremost, in third place and maintaining his championship lead in this and looking for consolidation in the Portable Shade Kawasaki team. Let's hear it for the pocket rocket himself, Stephen Udendahl. In second place. And what an awesome ride and what an awesome weekend for this young man. He certainly has shown that Russell Wood not only put in a massive effort to assist the gas team in getting this all together and making this event work, but he's also put it onto the podium for the Muscle and Fitness Gym Kawasaki team. Let's hear it for the very man from Pinetown. It is Blaze Baker. Before we put the man on top of the podium, we're going to ask another man from Natal to go and join these guys up next to the Monster Ladies there, and winning the Rookie of the Day for the Super 600 category. He's also out of Natal, and I'm sure he's going to be very happy on getting onto a podium at the Monster Energy Super GP Champions Trophy. Rookie of the Day today, Malcolm Rudman. And top of the podium with a double victory. And yes, we've got a corner here called the Durban Double. He's done the Durban Double for his new team, Portable Shade Kawasaki. Let's hear it for Matthew Scholz. So a rookie going to be handed up by Mr. Anthony Lauter from Gas Sports to Malcolm Rudman. Second place by Mr. Stephen Watson from Gas Sports. Third place. There's 4 of them up there now, not only 3. Sorry, my bad. You guys try and remember everything I've got to keep in my head for this weekend and see if you get it all right. Second place is going to be handed out by, well, we have to give it to him. It's the Muscle and Fitness Gym man himself and Mr. Wiggle to Russell Wood. And first place by Guguzulu, Director of Gas Sports. Let's hear it for Matthew Scholz. And yes, it's that time of the day, so cameraman, I suggest you move ever so slightly back because it's about to get real. Yeah, big thanks to GH Mum, our official champagne for the Super GP. Very, very cool to have them on board, and I'm sure they're enjoying the spoils of everything that happened here today. Let's go back to Matt to catch up on some of the highlights, and back to Gugu a little bit later for the interviews.
Yeah, thanks, Greg, and great to see these guys celebrating. Well done to Rudman for the rookie, and he has been climbing the ladder. Great to see him, and hopefully that'll give him some confidence to get himself up there. We've got some highlights coming from the race, and man, where do you start with the Super 600s? It's been a day of absolute chaos. Some of the huge stories have been the fact that Scholzi is the man, but the rest of the action that's been going on has been absolutely insane. Highlights, here we go. So it started off with Scholzi getting a good drop off the line, but the pocket rocket was strong. Scholzi forced the whole world wide, and it was Kershaw that got left out to dry on the outside. Blaze Baker tagging him and sending him out to the rafters. Shelley came through quite nicely to get a good drop, but at the back, Ricky Liwia and Nicole van Asviken coming together and down once again in famous turn number 1. It's all the crashes are happening down there. Absolute madness. So it's going to be a situation where everyone had to just catch themselves up. In the mid-pack, everything was looking real nice and solid the whole way through. And the top 3 riders started to break away. The top 3 riders, as we saw in race number 1, stretched things out the front on race number 2. Scholzi was leading the pack. Blaze Baker did a great drop off the gate and controlled himself the whole way through the early laps. Temba Kamalo had his own problems once again, and then the chase group was all about Shelley, Foss, the triumph of AJ Fenter, and Rudman joined the party this time around, and this time around Rudman was able to hold pace. Foss started to get himself up the road and clean and clear, and he started to stretch away from the group. AJ Fenter held on for a while but started to fade back. There was a good little battle at the back, and this was Nicole van Asviken on the teaser's triumph, trying to unlap herself and get around another local rider, Corbin McCallum. These guys were locked together, and that was the big action throughout the mid part of the race. Nicole was able to get herself up there and at least unlap herself and be able to get herself up into a point scoring situation in 11th place. So the Triumph teaser rider, one of the smallest riders out there, able to get up and run clear air. AJ Fenter was battling himself up there for around about a 5th place, and he would eventually get closed down and eventually passed by Rudman as he came through. And then it was forwards and backwards, backwards and forwards. Nick Kershaw was on his spare bike and he had his own battle going on with Shelley. Shelley having a lot of problems, as did Nicholas Kershaw, both of them having to step onto their spare bikes after crashing out in race number 1. And that was a situation there. It looked like it was an overfill of petrol that spilled out onto Kershaw, and eventually he would fade back and step out of that one. A new corner was named at Durban, the Durban double, the back end of the track, a double sweeper, and it was all about the Durban double for Matty Scott. His first double of the season to get himself up there, 2 flags on the day, and to get himself up to now move into 2nd place in championship points. Blaze Baker, the local kid, came through for another 2nd place to win out ahead of Odendahl, and Odendahl 3rd on the day and still remains the number 1 rider in championship points. Formation flying for the Onassis Racing. Kawasaki's a 1, 2, 3 for the Kawasaki brand on the Kawasaki ZX6s, and nothing but happiness coming out of Matty Scotts as once again he tops the charts and walks away from a clean event with a double. So the Super 600's absolutely cracking the whole way through.
Stephen, you were generally leading the championship to date, and obviously the last race now, you were just consolidating, or did you have a problem in the last race?
Well, we took it as a consolidation, but to be honest, lost my quick shifter, so I wasn't sure, like, if sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, and I lost a bit of a gap to Blaze, but well done, he rode very well, and Matthew, I couldn't everything was good, and you know, we go to Swartkops and I'm ready for Swartkops. I've done some testing there, so I'll be back on the podium and hopefully number 1 step.
Great stuff. And now we go to the man in 2nd place this time around, Blaze, obviously signing some autographs. Congratulations on being on the podium for the 2nd time. Obviously Natal is going to be a big party tonight. How did that go for you?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. As I planned, couldn't have asked for a better race.
Is this mean that you're going to be actually a regular up here going into the season?
Well, with the help from my sponsor, Russell Wood, just helping me with my setup, and for sure I hope that this will not be the last.
Fantastic. And now we've got the rookie of the day himself. How was that experience for you to be out here, to be able to share the spoils of the day?
It's good, It's really good to be here in Natal and ride with all these Joburg guys and all the Natal guys that came out. It was really good. Just like to thank all my sponsors, Butchery Maintenance Services, Mega Force Brotherhood, and Marshall's Motorcycles.
Fantastic, and it seems as if Matthew Schultz is actually signing a lot of autographs. Let's try and see if we can break through into the crowd. Matthew, if you can come through and join us over here quickly, mate. Matthew, congratulations on your win. It was a double for the day. How did that go for you?
Yeah, no, the second race I got the whole shot, and I just kept a constant pace, and it seemed to work for me from there. And yeah, I'm really happy that I could pull off the double win in front of my home crowd.
Does this mean that you'll be definitely going for championship honors going forward into the next round?
Yeah, definitely. Like always, I'll always be thinking about the championship, but yeah, we'll have to go back home and look at the drawing board and see how we can go from there.
Clearly, Team Boss must be happy considering it's his birthday weekend. Is there going to be a big party in Durban tonight?
Definitely.